Hi everyone, this is Shayna Hiller from Build Your Personal Yoga Business. And today I'd like to discuss some of the most important music musts when teaching yoga. Now, some people don't use music when they're teaching yoga, which is completely fine. But for those of you who do, weaving music into your sequence is almost just as important as developing your sequence in general. I mean, just think about the intentionality behind sequencing a traditional yoga class. The way in which you sequence your music should go along with what you're offering your students. Now, of course, this is going to depend on if you're teaching a vinyasa flow class, a restorative class, a yin yoga class, and it should be somewhat intuitive and somewhat second nature. So there's one mistake, and I've made it many times, especially when I first started teaching yoga, and I loved a lot of different music, and I was playing what I loved. Now, I'm not saying that you should not play what you loved, but I was just like, you know what, if I'm going to teach yoga and I got music playing, I want it to be tunes that I'm going to enjoy as well. And they didn't necessarily go in line, they didn't necessarily follow the structure of the yoga class. Now, this is important for many reasons, not because it sounds better when it's more consciously constructed and sequenced, but it has to also do with your students and their nervous system. So the invitation, and again, this is kind of like across the board. The invitation is first and foremost to start light. Now, some teachers I know, they will not play a drop of music until they start teaching sun salutations, and then it's more intense music or a more upbeat, flowy type of music. That's fine. But if you are going to play music from the onset of your yoga class, the invitation is something meditative, tranquil, and something that allows the students to get into their breath. I've been noticing this a lot lately, especially, is the more I play just like a drone or a steady om or a hum, very, very basic in the beginning. Since I teach primarily vinyasa yoga, I notice that my students get way more into their breath and their concentration. And then as the flow progresses, I gradually increase the tempo and the rhythm of the music. However, and this is another point, I don't play a lot of music with words. I used to. These days, the music I'll play that has words in it is maybe something that's more classic, right? Something that's more classic. But I find that words subconsciously travel into the psyche of both myself, anyone who's listening to the music. And yoga is a time for really tuning in. And of course, music can serve as an instrument and as a support system to meditation. But just be mindful of the type of words if you're going to have or going to play music that has words in it. You know, is it about like, oh, you know, like, look at that ass, like some sort of rap music, which is fine. I love playing hip hop beats, but be aware of, you know, if there's explicit language or if there's too many love songs. I mean, we're talking non-attachment here, right? So awareness is key. I may have mentioned this in another video, but it's worth mentioning again, is I strongly suggest that you either play no music or play very, very smooth music during Shavasana, meaning no words. Sometimes I just play an om or a tambura, T-A-M-B-O-U-R-A. You can search it on Spotify. Something that's a steady drone-like experience, so you can really balance out the nervous system and get people into a trance-like state. I don't even play piano or guitar during Shavasana because I find that the bing, bing, bing or the strum, strum, strum kind of distracts my meditation. So notice what you like, because chances are that what you like when you're practicing is what your students will like because it's authentic and it's coming from you. And at the end of the day, you got to be true to you. You can also, I meant to say this in the beginning, find me on Spotify under Shayna Hiller, and I do suggest that if your goal is to increase your yoga teaching and to build your yoga business, definitely get on Spotify or Pandora, but pay the $10 a month. It's worth it. If you're still buying music on iTunes, don't buy music anymore. I mean, you don't have to buy music that way. You can support the music system by paying the $10 a month for Spotify or for another type. I use Spotify because I can make playlists and download them, and then I don't need the internet in order to play them. And it's $10 a month, and I can change my playlist once a week, which I strongly recommend. If you're teaching 3 or more classes per week, I suggest changing your playlist on a weekly basis. It keeps everything fresh and inspiring. So have an amazing time making a playlist. It takes me at least an hour to make a playlist, especially on Spotify. I get carried away. Allow yourself to get carried away. It's an act of creativity and serving your students. And when you can intelligently sequence your playlist, your students will continue to come back and come back and come back, because you're creating a sacred space. You're creating a zone for them to truly drop into their meditation. And music can support or it can distract from that experience. So enjoy, and I will see you on the next video. As always, let me know if you have any questions. Subscribe below. We've got a free ebook, and we've also finally just launched our free 3-part video series on booking and selling out and hosting your very own yoga retreat. So grab the free stuff below and let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you soon. Happy teaching. Namaste.